Hi guys, it's Jacqueline JW Van Minimal, and I have been MIA for just a few days. Haven't came to you with any content, basically because I'm working on the series of Finding Freedom. I'm actually getting ready to launch my podcast and get all of the bells and whistles that's connected to that. So I'm going to be putting a podcast together. I met with my consultant today to figure out how best we're going to do this because I am on a very tight budget. I also am doing some other things. I still work with my daughter, and I had to beef up some of the work I was doing with her related to her company, just because I'm, helping her with the business. And I took on another passenger. I'm always like fascinated with the work I'm doing with these riders that I transport. They're disabled individuals, and I don't know, it's just very interesting. We go through life not, I mean, some of us, I can't say all, but like in my family, we don't really have any disabled individuals. Well, now I have to back up a little bit. My little great niece, she's actually my great nephew's baby. She's about 6 months old, and she was diagnosed with Down syndrome. I think she'll be high functioning, but she still has Down syndrome. But other than that, we have a very large family, and there's nobody in our family who has like a disability, cognitive or physical, until they're like older, when they're older and they have to get in wheelchairs and have that kind of ailment, or they have illnesses that debilitate them in some ways. But as far as like a young person coming out of the womb with a disability, we never had that in our family. So it's interesting for the passengers or the riders that I have. And they go to different locations. They might go to organization that help a large number of individuals with disabilities, and these people range from high functioning autism to you know cerebral palsy, just the whole thing where they can't talk or communicate, they're in wheelchairs, all of that kind of stuff. And it's just been a learning and growing experience for me to have to be exposed to those individuals and their families, because I'm usually not so much the higher functioning ones. They're pretty they do whatever. But the one, I just got a new passenger who's a teen. I think I have to find out what his age is, but he's nonverbal and have some physical disabilities. He can walk, but I'm sure he had lots and lots of therapy as a child to learn how to walk. His walking is still, not like you and I would walk down the street, and he can't use his hands very well. His mom did tell me what his ailment was, but I'll ask her again because she was saying it very quickly. But he's totally nonverbal, and that is a very interesting thing to, for me to have to kind of deal with, because I'm like a communicator, and, I still chat with the kid, as we're writing. But I don't know if he's understanding what I'm saying. Sometimes he'll look at you, and sometimes he'll smile or laugh, but I still don't know if he's laughing, in the sense of communicating that way, or is it something like a physical thing. So I've been doing that, and I did it all last week with this new passenger. And, he's a really cool kid, and so I picked that up, and it's taken a little energy out of me because I'm still learning. I have to change my schedule, and then I take the other young man, the 19-year-old I think I mentioned before. He's very high functioning, but I was only taking him 3 days a week. Now I have him 5 days a week, along with the young man, the teen, who is totally nonverbal. So I'm just not just a driver, but I'm just a driver. But these people, I have to escort the teen into the building, and things like that. And I know he has a personality because he's done a couple of things that I kind of giggled about when I'm helping him out of the vehicle. He's all for me supporting him, holding his hand, going into the building. But as soon as he gets in the building, he was like, "See you later, lady. I got this." He goes off into wherever he thinks he needs to go. Sometimes he's going in the wrong direction. I have to redirect him. But it's just funny. He's like, "Don't hold my hand. You ain't gonna embarrass me by you, old lady, holding my hand." So that's what I assume from the way he reacts when I try to hold his hand going into the school when I take him to class or school or whatever. So that's kind of funny. So I've been busy doing that, but I also have been thinking about my podcast, this channel. This channel really is about my van life journey. Not so much about the van, as I've mentioned, but it's really about what's happening within ourselves as we are doing something that dramatic. In my case, this is very dramatic. And for people who do live in their vehicle full time, it's like, man, those are some brave individuals. That's all I have to say about that. So I'm here. I'm at the office. I'm at the building. For those of you who don't know or don't remember what I do a lot of things, first and foremost. But my name's Jacqueline. I call myself a consultant. I primarily consult around business development and nonprofit development, but I do a whole bunch of other stuff. Like I'm a licensed realtor. I don't do a ton of stuff in real estate, which I really love real estate and I should, but I'm still sort of out there like finding my way. But I've always consulted. I've always done project management around certain things. So where I am now is sometimes I record in the real estate office when I'm there doing like desk duty, basically. And I usually do that on the weekends. But it's Sunday, so this will probably go up today. But I was meeting with the consultant around my new podcast related to finding freedom, because in reality, my goal is not to like have 50 jobs. My reality is to focus on a couple of really interesting things, and then all of my other stuff will be volunteering, community work, that kind of stuff. And you really should be independently wealthy when you're trying to do those things. So the building I am in right now is it's a property that I manage. My office is here. It's a co-work space. We call it the BRIC building, and it stands for Business Resource and Innovation Center. It was founded by myself and two other business partners. Eventually, one of the partners purchased. We were like leasing the property, but one of the partners purchased it. And, he has other businesses, so I'm sort of the steward of the building. So my goal is to get tenants here, and make sure the building is kept up and all of that stuff. So there's networking events that happen here. There's trainings that happen here. There's those of us who have co-work space, like we have meetings with individuals here, and that's what I'm doing today on Sunday. So what I'm doing is rearranging my schedule for all of the stuff, especially since I'm going to be doing a little bit more driving work with my daughter. So I have to change my schedule to accommodate like all the other things I got going on. I'm also a volunteer in the community. So I sit on a couple of committees. I sit on a committee with a nonprofit, with a foundation, with a foundation, a charity. And along with that is two other, it's sort of the same charity, but it's different giving, peer giving programs or granting programs. So I sit on a committee for the foundation, and then there's another giving part of that. That's part of the foundation. I sit on that committee. I think we only meet like once or twice a year. And then there's another like peer community based group that gives money to community for community development. I sit on that committee. I'll be changing some of that soon, but for the most part, it's the big foundation is 4 times a year, and the other 2 committees are a couple times a year. So I do that, and then I also am on a committee. I'm not on the board of this other nonprofit that does recovery, alcohol and drug recovery. So I sit on that particular committee to help them figure out like their fundraising strategy, because most of my nonprofit work is around fundraising, grant development, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, that I do also. So I'm really trying to find my footing as far as my commitments. Part of it is how I have to make a living, right? I have to pay for stuff, make money. So part of it is that, but the other part is really me giving back to the community. So I've been kind of busy, but really working my way through, adding on the new passenger and working on my podcast, which I am going to be giving you guys an update on that. The podcast is related to finding freedom, which I've talked about. And the reason I have this channel and why I decided to do the van life thing, which I'm just like gutted that I haven't done that yet. And it's winter and I'm still here, all that yada, yada, yada. But the reason I was doing the van situation was to create awareness around what I've talked about, which is sustainability. But also it's an opportunity for me to search my goal around finding freedom, because this is so, traveling by vehicle like that, and I'm putting 1 year's term on it, so out of my comfort zone, out of anything that I would do. Some people I tell about it, they think it's awesome. Some people I tell about it, they stare at me like I'm crazy. But I think 95% of the people like, man, that's awesome. And maybe I should do that. That's what they're thinking in their heads. So it's really an opportunity for me to find freedom. And I'm going to ask you again, how do you define it? Because my podcast will be all around that topic. And it's not just a linear topic, because if you ask somebody the question, what does freedom mean to you? I'm not talking about what's right in front of us. I'm talking about the internal way individuals find freedom. And you do that by testing yourself, by doing some things that you don't think you can do, by releasing things that hold you back. So that's what we're going to be doing. And excuse my camera angle, because I haven't bought a tripod yet. So you guys have to hold me accountable. I need a tripod. I especially need one for this recording thing. I've been given my to-dos. I have my to-do list from the consultant. So I have to get a tripod, a mic, eventually another camera. I'm using my phone now. I do have another camera, but I don't like the way it records. So I have to get a camera and all that good stuff. And all of that takes money. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I've been up to. It's really good to be back on the channel. I appreciate anyone who has recently subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate my traditional subscribers. Pass the word, like, comment. If you're not a subscriber, do that as well. Be on the lookout for my podcasts, and I want you to start thinking about how you find freedom. Okay, this is Jacqueline. I will see you guys on the other side.